Good evening and welcome to the City of Glendale Civil Service Commission meeting. May I please have roll call?
Commissioner Devine?
Here.
Commissioner Yarigi? Here. Chair Gazarian?
Here.
For the record, Commissioners Yakubian and Manukin are absent tonight.
Thank you. Next item.
Minutes?
Do we have, I don't think we can approve.
Mr. Chair, yeah,
Was I here last
I
time?
think you can approve the minutes of January 14th, but not December 10th. And February 25th you can. So.
All right. Do I have a motion on January 14?
Not everybody was here.
On January 14?
Kubian is missing. You, me, and for that meeting.
Actually, none of the minutes could be approved tonight.
Right.
None of them, right? That's what I
They'll
thought.
have to be deferred, yes.
Then we're going to have to table that for the next meeting. I'm also going to need a pen if you have one. I don't have a pen. Somebody took my pen. Next item, please.
Oral communications?
I see no cards and no one approaching the podium. Thank you. Next item, please.
Recruitment and examination report.
Mr. Doyle.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this is our monthly report on our recruitment activity. This report shows the current recruitment status right now, and the various staff, the different departments, and the dates, times of the various steps of the exams. As you can see, we have 42 recruitments in process, and this is pretty standard in the last few months. We've been between 40 and 50. We no sooner finish some, and then we get others that come in. So it's stayed at this level more or less for the past few months. In this one, you'll see a lot of activity in the Parks, Community Services and Parks Department. Some of the seasonal activity, the summer programs. We're doing a lot of hiring for those programs right now. But otherwise, this is a pretty standard list. If you have questions, be happy to try and answer them. This is a note and file.
Any questions? Motion?
It's a note.
No, this is
file.
not a motion. Yeah, it's not a motion. Thank you. Next item, please.
Eligible lists established.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, as with the previous item, this is a note and file. This is just merely a report showing the eligible lists that have been established since our last meeting. As I normally say when I present this is the culmination of our recruitment process, where you see the various recruitments we do, the departments, whether the position was promotional or open, and total number of applications that we start with, and then the total number at the end of the process. Again, in this report, you'll see the majority of these are promotional exams, which is nice to be able to provide career development for our employees. We have one open recruitment with a total of 56 applications, which is pretty standard. And again, the far right column shows you the final eligible list. You can see generally they tend to be pretty short after having put the candidates through our process. So again, if there's questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them. Otherwise, it's note and file.
No questions? Thank you. With respect to the following items, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, I see that Ms. Hunanian has had a hand in all of these. Are these appropriate to be taken up together or no?
Mr. Chair, that would be appropriate. These, because they all involve the same department and the same division within that department. So, if I may, I'll introduce the subject.
Before we proceed, I'll read the items in the record. Item 6, Class Specification for Approval, Housing Advisor Series. Class Specification for Approval, Housing Coordinator Series. Class Specification for Approval, Housing Project Manager Series. Class Specification for Approval, Housing Supervisor Series. And Class Specification for Approval, Housing Administrative Series.
Thank you. Mr. Doyle?
Okay, Mr. Chair, this is a sort of restructuring of the housing division within Community Development Department. traditionally in this section we have the housing development and preservation and the housing assistance program. Those are the two main dividing lines within this section. They're both overseen by Mr. Zovak, who's here today. Housing development and preservation deals with project management and construction. The housing assistance is, of course, the Section 8 program, which has lots of activity in this community. The specifications here are really, we've got revisions of 3 existing series and then 2 new specification series that relate to each of the respective areas of the housing division. And we've had lots of retirements in this section over the past few years after the collapse of the redevelopment. We've had lots of positions that have been just eliminated as far as funding, and really operating with probably about 15 to 20 less positions overall. But what this is an effort to do is to try to lay some groundwork for the future in this department, and in refining these class specifications, trying to provide opportunity for some cross training in both sides of the various housing areas, and hopefully employees that may be interested in moving one side to the other can have that opportunity, and we're trying to accomplish that with this housing administrative series. Again, it's quite a lot of work went into this between Mr. Hagani, Mr. Zovak, and Ms. Hunanian. I don't know how detailed you want us to go through it, but we'd be happy to take your lead. And if you'd like Mr. Hagani to say a few words, I'm sure he'd be happy to do so.
Anybody has any such need?
Move for approval.
Second.
Unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here, Mr. Hagani.
You can go home now.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Civil Service Commission, staff comments.
Any comments?
If I might, did you want to take a vote on that last item?
It was unanimous.
It was unanimous.
What you're going to reflect in the record?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
just want to make sure that was in the record.
I believe we're adjourned.
Move to adjourn.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
You did it.